Okay, let's dive right into this fascinating explainer. Today, we're taking a timeless fable and translating it into a seriously powerful psychological lesson about why comparing yourself to others is pretty much a guaranteed one-way ticket to unhappiness. We're looking at a really old story, but honestly, it is incredibly relevant to the way we live right now. It's the story of a crow, a monk, and this wild journey to find the ultimate secret to contentment. Through this beautifully simple tale, we are going to unpack the heavy toll of envy, the sheer danger of perception, the liberating power of just accepting exactly who you are, and, most importantly, how we can finally break free from all of it.
To frame our story, let's start with this massive, essential question. Who is the happiest person in the world? I mean, really think about it. I want you to consider how often our modern comparison culture makes you feel like someone else always has it better. You know the drill. You open up your phone, you start scrolling through your feed, and boom, you are instantly bombarded with these carefully curated images of people who seem way more successful, vastly more beautiful, and just infinitely happier than you are. We're constantly measuring our messy, behind-the-scenes reality against everybody else's shiny highlight reel. It's exhausting, right? Well, the bird at the center of our source material today falls into this exact same trap, and his quest to find the absolute happiest creature alive reveals a profound truth about human nature.
All right, let's get into Section 1, The Crow's Despair. Picture this. The story opens with our protagonist, a crow, literally weeping in a tree. He is just completely overwhelmed by his own misery, crying so incredibly hard that a drop of his tears falls straight down and lands right on the cheek of a wise monk, who happens to be quietly meditating on the ground below him. The monk gently raises his head, notices this weeping bird, and asks him, "What's wrong?" And the crow's response? It's devastating. He says, "Death is better than such a life." This really establishes the crow's emotional rock bottom. He just pours his heart out to the monk, explaining that he feels completely unloved. He complains that people actively shoo him away in disgrace, nobody ever gives him a single crumb to eat, and he genuinely believes that absolutely everyone in the world hates him. He is entirely focused on his perceived flaws and the hostility of the world around him. He's basically the embodiment of self-pity and despair.
Hearing all this sorrow, the monk's heart is just filled with compassion. At first, he tries to drop some wisdom, telling the crow that, hey, we should learn to be happy in whatever condition we find ourselves in. But the crow, he's way too far gone in his grief to hear it. So the monk offers a practical and magical solution. He tells the crow he can transform him into literally anything he wants to be, using a special mantra. Naturally, the crow is absolutely thrilled and begs to be made into a swan. But the monk issues a very specific challenge first. Step 1, go find a swan. Step 2, ask that swan if he is actually happy with his life. And Step 3, return here and the transformation will be totally granted.
Which brings us to Section 2, Chasing the Perfect Life.
Eager to escape his miserable existence, our crow happily takes flight. He flies off to find the swan, absolutely 100% certain that this beautiful, elegant bird swimming peacefully in a pond is going to be the happiest creature alive. He flies up, praises the swan's beauty, tells him he's as white as milk, loved by everyone, and therefore must be the absolute happiest bird in the entire world. But this brilliantly illustrates the irony of the whole situation. To the crow, the swan is pure perfection and universally loved. But the swan, he completely rejects this assumption. He is actually deeply unhappy because he lacks color. To the swan, white isn't a color at all. It's a void. It's just nothing. The swan literally says, "I think the parrot must be the happiest bird in the world. It's so colorful." So the crow sees perfection in the swan's white feathers, but the swan is actually miserable because he's constantly comparing himself to the parrot.
So, following this trail of envy, the crow flies off to find the parrot, only to discover yet another really painful illusion. The crow praises the parrot's magnificent, vibrant colors, repeating that exact same assumption. You must be the happiest bird in the world. But the parrot's reality check is grim. Those beautiful colors, they are exactly the thing that makes him live in terror. He explains that humans desire those colors so much that they actively hunt parrots just to keep them locked up in cages. The parrot lives in constant, daily fear of losing his freedom. So who does the parrot envy? Well, he tells the crow that the peacock, who is far more colorful and majestic, must surely be the happiest of all.
All right, moving on to Section 3, the peacock's realization. Our escalating quest for the perfect life reaches its climax at a busy zoo. The crow takes off again, searching everywhere, until he finally tracks down a peacock. But he doesn't find him out in the wild. He finds the peacock confined in a cage, surrounded by hundreds of admiring people who have gathered specifically just to look at him. This peacock represents the ultimate object of envy in our story. The crow watches the crowd in total awe. After the humans finally disperse, the crow approaches the cage. He is completely stunned by the sheer adoration this bird receives. He says to the peacock, "Look at me. When people see me, they immediately shoo me away. But thousands of people come to see you." The crow confidently declares that after talking to the swan and the parrot, the peacock must finally be the happiest bird on the planet. I mean, he's got the ultimate beauty and the ultimate fame, right? But here is where the perspective completely, radically shifts. The peacock replies, "I always thought I was the most beautiful and happiest bird on the planet, but because of my beauty, I am entrapped in this zoo." Wow. The peacock reveals the horrific, hidden cost of his physical perfection. Not only is he imprisoned in a cage, but he suffers immense physical pain when people pluck his brilliant, colorful feathers to make decorative things. His beauty is not a blessing at all. It is literally his prison and his torture. And this builds to the ultimate twist in our story. Let's really look at this comparison. Yes, the peacock is widely adored, but he's caged, he's trapped, and he is physically plucked for his assets. The crow, on the other hand, might be ignored, maybe even shooed away, but because he lacks that quote-unquote desirable beauty, he is completely free to roam the skies. The peacock tells the crow something that shocks him to his absolute core. He says, "I have examined the zoo very carefully, and realized that you, the crow, are the only bird not kept in a cage." The peacock desperately wishes he were a crow. Why? Because the crow's unremarkable appearance grants him total, absolute freedom. Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, the comparison trap.
Hearing this shocking truth fundamentally changes the crow's entire worldview. He suddenly realizes the immense value of his own life. So he immediately flies back to the meditating monk, but this time, he is completely happy to just be a crow. Actually, scratch that, he's thrilled. He tells the wise man, "I don't want to be anything else. I am fine as I am." And this realization directly leads us to the core psychological lesson of our explainer today. The monk explains that in our own lives, we fall into this vicious cycle of unhappiness. We constantly make unnecessary comparisons with others. We see the swan's elegance, the parrot's color, or the peacock's fame, and we curse ourselves for not having those things. But when we focus entirely on what we lack rather than what we already have, we trap ourselves in a perpetual state of sadness. It's a vicious cycle because, just like that chain from the swan to the parrot to the peacock, there is always someone else who seems to have it better.
We can basically distill the monk's timeless wisdom into these 4 core rules for contentment to help break that cycle. Number 1, practice being happy in your current condition. Just try to find some peace exactly where you are. Number 2, consciously stop making unnecessary comparisons. Seriously, you never know the cage someone else is trapped in. Number 3, deliberately appreciate what you have. I mean, for the crow, it was the priceless gift of freedom. And number 4, radical acceptance. Just accept the simple, unavoidable fact that there will always be someone who has more than you and someone who has less than you. The absolute happiest person in the world isn't the one who possesses the most beauty or fame. It's simply the person who is satisfied with what they already possess.
So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on. Are you living free like the crow, or are you secretly trapped by the beauty of the peacock? The next time you find yourself scrolling through social media, staring at all the digital peacocks of the world and wishing you had someone else's life, just remember the hidden cages, remember the plucked feathers, and most importantly, remember to look down at your own wings, realize you aren't in a cage, and appreciate the incredible freedom you already have to just fly.